The Scottish tourists in Boston made a positive impact on everyone there, and I'm no exception. As you may have seen on social media, the World Cup's going on, and here in the greater Boston area, we became New Scotland for a week. Honestly, it was amazing to see online and experience in person. And while I wasn't part of any drinking or the other insanity you may have seen, I definitely had fun interacting with members of the Tartan Army and Scottish tourists in general at the Boston Common or wherever I came across them after shouting, "Go Scotland!" for a reaction. Like when I'd walk past people headed to Celtics or Bruins games last fall and I'd shout, "Go Team!" for a reaction. On the day of the Scotland-Haiti match, I went to the Boston Common and the Public Garden. While I was at the Goodwill hunting bench, I started to notice the Scottish jerseys and kilts, and would shout, "Go Scotland!" to elicit a response. At one point, I also told a group about the Goodwill hunting bench and helped them get a picture mimicking the frame from the movie. As I walked along the public garden toward the common, I had more interactions like helping one family find a family-friendly watch party, which I got from one of the Boston creators I follow. I overall enjoyed my time walking around the common and interacting with the Scots before heading in for my movie. After my movie, I met numerous Scots at Sal's while waiting for my mobile order. One of them explained soccer rules to me when I asked about the rerun of Team USA versus Paraguay match playing on the TV there. He told me how they add on time at the end of the match to reflect delays like the rehydration period because they don't stop the clock like American football does for timeouts and other things. More Scots came through Sal's, and I just loved seeing them coming to try one of the best pizza places in Boston, and I wish I could have gotten an honest answer on how it was from one of them who took the same Green Line tram as me. She had gotten her slice to go and was taking it back to her hotel past my stop, which I can respect. But I would have loved to hear a Scott's genuine feedback on how they like Sal's pizza. Honestly, I just loved getting to share Boston with the Scotts, including one to whom I showed a video of one of the seals looking like she was doing peekaboo to encourage their group to stop by the aquarium. I was so inspired by the Scots' dedication to their country's team. I bought this shirt to show my support for Team USA the following Wednesday. Then went back out on Juneteenth to go to a free watch party for their match against Australia, and possibly the Scotland Morocco match. Before that, I went to the aquarium, where I got to see the Scots react to such sights as a sea lion feeding, which I was just so happy to see. I wish I could see more tourists enjoy that. Throughout, I was actually considering getting a Fox One free trial and just going home for the matches. Maybe it was the fact I went through a lot of money on a big mobile order at Star Market 2 days prior, or just trying to go back to my comfort zone like John Travolta when he joined Tom Cruise in Stan Marsh's closet. Instead, I decided to try something new and support Team USA in a crowd. I also decided to try the ferry for the first time since I had to go to East Boston. My only mistake was arriving 3 hours before the match began and having to hang out there. I talked to a Scottish guy who was there to watch the match before the Scotland one because his elderly dad had a medical issue spring up that forced them to abort their plans to go to the match that night. Among other people I talked to that were single serve friends, like the narrator from Fight Club described it. I'll do a separate video talking about single serve friends, But the short version is, I had my fun interacting with people I met on the ferry who I saw again at the tall ship pier before disappearing into the crowd, and others I talked to, but moved on from to never see again. There was this one guy who I introduced myself to after he introduced himself when we were discussing the rules of the game. He had a clearly alcoholic beverage and was with a group anyway, so I kind of quietly ghosted him after he got into talking about soccer with someone else. I think DBDR has a point about places like Tall Ship Pier being set up with groups in mind rather than solo people like me. All I'd have to do is actually get into a group when I'm out there, which I'm definitely gonna work on and make more of an honest attempt to tolerate other people drinking until they berate or shame me for not drinking. That said, it was more fun to feel the crowd's reaction to Team USA scoring its goals, standing up for the national anthem, and everything else that went on. I now understand that the sport alone can be boring, but sharing the experience enhances it. If I had gone home and watched the Team USA match at home, it wouldn't have been the same. Sure, I wouldn't have gotten sunburned, and I wouldn't have spent so much money on food and sparkling water that I had to activate reward dollars to reduce costs over the rest of the day and the day after that to avoid going over budget. I view it as a learning experience to 1, pack sunscreen in the summer, and 2, if spending the money, pay to go somewhere indoors for watching sports in a public place, like when my uncle and I watched the first half of a Patriots game at a restaurant one time. The next day, Saturday, I enjoyed seeing the cones on the heads of statues I came across and talking to the remaining tourists before they left for Miami or headed back to Scotland. It wasn't the same as the previous Saturday, but it was still fun to shout, "Go, Scotland!" to those I did find, and talk to them about their experiences here in Boston. Honestly, the Tartan Army got me both excited for rooting for Team USA in the World Cup after not caring about it leading up to it beyond the traffic impacts, and for rooting for my home teams in general. At the tall ship pier, I realized the reason I got bored of American football in 2022 was because I was watching it all alone, half asleep, doing stuff on my MacBook or phone. The communal experience was missing. That's why the theater experience in general makes movies better. That's what I learned from the Scots and rooting for Team USA at a watch party. Now it's just a matter of seeing if I can tolerate being around people who are drinking, which was also a goal of the Tall Ship Pier watch party. I didn't encounter any abhorrent behavior brought about by drunk people, but it still didn't sit right with me, so I'm gonna go do more testing and report back to you. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment if you're watching the World Cup or not, and subscribe for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.